bloody day!
Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome in once again. Today we're going to be taking a look at a fresh new light from Olight. And Olight is not really a brand that I spend a lot of time highlighting, or I think at all. I don't think I have ever reviewed an Olight on my channel, but regardless, this is worth it because of the form factor of this light, which is quite a bit different than what we're used to seeing in a tube light. This is the Arkfeld Pro, and I'm going to be doing something that, well, pretty much everybody else on YouTube has done. I'm going to take this Arkfeld Pro, and I'm going to give you a direct comparison against the Nitecore EDC27, which right now has been dominating my pocket for the past few weeks and is pretty much my favorite tactical EDC light. However, it's possible that the Arkfeld Pro, with its cool dragon on the body, might be awesome enough to kick this out of my pocket. I guess we're just going to have to find that out. First off, we're going to spend some time just talking about the Arkfeld Pro, because if that's all you're here to see, well, you're going to get that chance. And then after that, we're going to do some side-by-side, head-to-head comparisons against the EDC27 in case maybe you're shopping for a flat body light and you're coming across both and wondering which may be better than the other for you. And then we're going to go outside. We're going to do some beam tests with the Arkfeld Pro. And then also we're going to do those same comparisons with the EDC27 in the dark, out in the backyard, out in the woods, and see which one performs better for each given task that you may have in your mind. So without any further ado, I'm going to shine the laser pointer right over there, because that's where we're going to do a quick tabletop look at the Arkfeld Pro. Alrighty, getting into the Arkfeld Pro by Olight. There's a lot to love about this thing, and a lot that you may be a little bit skeptical of, because I'm going to be honest with you, this thing has been a hype machine ever since it came out. As a matter of fact, all of the Arkfelds, the original Arkfeld, then the Arkfeld UV, and then now this Arkfeld Pro, a lot of people have talked about it. A lot of people have thrown a lot of praise at it and very little criticism. Well, I am here to shoot it straight for you, and I'm going to tell you this right off the bat. I really, really like this light. It is really nice, really cool, and if I had never held the EDC27 and experienced that, this would most likely have been my daily, everyday go-to EDC light. And it still may be for a lot of occasions because it is really nice. Now, the claimed maximum 1300 lumens out of this is good. It's not insane. It's not crazy. But it's 30% brighter than the previous models. So you've got a good, strong light here that shouldn't disappoint pretty much anybody. Now, if you have unrealistic expectations for $99, that's on you. I think 1300 lumens is totally fine. Now, the Candela, which it just fell out of my head for some reason. I'll put it up here on the screen. The candela rating on here is actually pretty good for a light this size. This is not crazy big. This is easy to carry around, especially because of this flat body design. Now, for me, the ergos and the user interface are the most attractive features of this light. Now, in this video, we're going to focus on the detailed review of the light. This is just what I mentioned in the intro. Then we're going to do the head-to-head comparison with the Nitecore EDC27. Then we'll go outside, we'll showcase all of the strengths of this light, and then we'll do the comparisons again with the EDC27 when we're out in the dark. But I will say you get more options with the Olight for sure. So you've got the white light, you've got the laser, and you've got the UV. And I love the user interface here. The UI is awesome. Now, normally when we talk about UI, we're just going to be talking about, how to step through the modes and everything on the light itself. And I will explain that here in a second. But honestly, the first interface you have is making your selection, whether you're going to be using the white light, the laser, or the UV light. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. The UV light is far stronger than I expected. Playing with black lights and UV lights and stuff like that, just kind of a little bit, doing studio photography and stuff. I've had very limited experience with it. And all they tend to do is just glow that small area that you're right in front of. I turned this on the other day in my living room, and it was lighting up stuff like white throw pillows and white things across my house. It was nuts how far it was throwing that UV light. I didn't even know that was a thing. So had I never picked up this light and touched it and played with it and fondled it, then I would have never known. Now, I'm not a big laser person. I think lasers are cool, obviously. Just like everybody else, I'm an overgrown child, but I don't really see a practical application for me. But it's neat. And the fact that you can use the white light and the laser at the same time, I don't know if that's ever going to be a thing that anybody's ever going to care about. But you do have that functionality, whether you need them or not. They're all three there. I really like the feel of the flat body. It's a definite welcome change from standard tube bodies. And if you've subscribed to my channel for any length of time, you already know this light. This is my Cylon design that I put out a couple of years ago. And listen, when you can go out there with a $99 light and throw just about as much white light as a $900 light, I think you're doing pretty darn good. Yeah, you're not getting the laborious machining. You're not getting all the tritium inside. You're not getting triple LEDs with a glow gasket. You're not getting full titanium construction. There are major differences between buying a regular production light and buying an expensive custom light. Whether it's a Henko, it's a Lux RC, it's a Coolfall, whatever one you want to think of. There are a lot of great custom lights out there, and they definitely serve their purpose. But this is going to be one that you're probably going to carry more often. You're not going to care if you bang it around, knock it around, maybe drop it on the sidewalk, or it gets scraped as you're climbing in and out of the truck. It's just not going to matter all that much. And then, of course, there are people out there that are going to go, I would never pay hundreds and hundreds or $1,000 for a flashlight. Well, that may seem expensive to a lot of people, but it's got features that we could justify, and obviously materials and craftsmanship that go into that. That's like saying, I would never spend more than $50 on a knife. Yeah, here's a sneak peek for an upcoming video. This is a $28,000 knife. And yep, there is a very strong market for stuff like this. Boop. But That's not for everybody. And this is the price range, 99 bucks or less on a good, powerful flashlight that you could carry every day is generally a good way to go. Now, the other thing that I really like about this is it's very, very easy to use and to memorize the UI. Okay, so you could do from off a long press to give you the very light moonlight setting. You could turn that back off. You could double press for strobe, and you can triple press for your limited time turbo. Now, when it's on, all you got to do is press and hold the E switch, and you'll automatically cycle through your low, medium, and high intensities. And like I said, it is going to throw enough light to make most everybody happy. I'm in my brightly lit studio on my photo table where I've done my reviews for the last 12 years. And even with, I wouldn't even want to guess at how many watts of lights I have running in here. Even with all these lights running, you can very, very easily see this light illuminating quite well. Another thing that I like is you've got constant feedback with the LEDs that are right here beneath the selector switch and beneath the E switch. Lets you know if you've got full battery charge, if you're getting low. It'll light up the last one in red when you're down to your final 10%. So you always know your state of charge just by turning it on every time you pick it up. That is super great. Now, generally, you're going to have extra batteries on charge for stuff like this, 18650s and all that kind of good stuff. But on an internal battery like this, you don't have that luxury. It is the battery that's built in, and that's it. So for me personally, I find it very, very important that you get that instant feedback and know what you're dealing with as soon as you pick the light up. Now, Olight makes things really easy when it comes to charging. A lot of companies don't, and that's probably a knock I would give on the Nitecore as much as I love it. It's kind of a pain in the butt, so I've got to open up this cover, and then I plug in the USB-C once I found a place and a power cube to plug that into. And with Olight, it's super simple. All I need is some place to plug in the USB to get the power into it. And then very simply, use the magnet. Now, this is not something new or fascinating to anybody that is into Olights. It's fascinating to me because, like I said, I haven't really had a lot of experience with Olight, so I think this is super cool. So all you got to do is get it near it. The magnet sucks it in, and this little area right here will turn either green or red when it's plugged into a power source to let you know if it's charging and if it's done charging. Green obviously means go. You're good. You're charged up. You're ready to rock and roll, baby. Now, here's the other cool thing. You got a big-ass battery in there, so it's going to give you a good long battery life. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to kind of move this over here, I think might be best, because I want to put up the chart off of Olight's website that shows you all of the run times, because this is very important information. You've got a 1,500 milliamp hour lithium polymer battery. And according to Olight, that has increased 42.9% from the previous Arkfeld. And you've got a maximum runtime of 11 days. So let's hope they find your ass on that abandoned island before 11 days runs out and you don't have any light left and you die a horrible death on that beach in front of that ice-cold water. I don't know, I'm just thinking up scenarios where you would need to run a flashlight for 11 days. I certainly hope that none of us ever have to do that. Did I say abandoned island? It wasn't like people fled and abandoned it. It's a deserted island. It's off all by itself. Learn how to speak. All right, so now, very quickly, let's give you some quick comparisons to the EDC27, because I know a lot of people are going to be looking at the two of these wondering which one is the best way to go. I'm going to tell you right now, I expected this to be a lot slimmer for some reason. And I think a lot of that is due to carrying the Nitecore for the past few weeks and turning that into my everyday carry. As far as the length goes, we can put these over here. Like we can, here, we'll put them butt to butt, as all things should be. There you go, butt to butt. And you see that the EDC27 overall length is just a tiny bit longer. However, at their thickest parts of their bodies, they're just about the same thicknesses, but the EDC27 tapers down and gets rather slim toward the head. And that's the other thing that I think a lot of people are going to have to make a decision on. The orientation of this light, but the big difference is going to be when you're going to use it. If you like that more tactical style feel with tail switches, then the EDC27 is going to be your go-to. You can't do any of that with the Olight because the only thing down here is the charging area. Your controls are up here by the head. Now, this is just fine if what you're doing is you're kind of maybe walking a path out in the woods and you're scanning around. You're probably going to have it held like this anyway. Maybe you're out in a dark neighborhood and you're walking your dog. You're probably going to be holding it like this anyway. A lot of EDC style things, you know, everyday carry kind of things, you're probably going to hold it like that. And by the way, you've got some nice grip on here. It's got some nice texturing in the sides of the aluminum body. And it's very easy to switch from the white light to the laser and then over to your UV light. So when you walk in that hotel room and you want to see how many things have been jizzed on.
What are all those stains?
Blood, urine, or semen.
Oh, God, I hope it's urine.
You've got the UV light ready to go and a laser to point it out to your wife and go, oh, don't touch the phone. Why is it everybody jizzes on the phones? If you've never done the black light thing, you really should. And I'm telling you that the phone is one of the worst things you could touch in a hotel room. Okay, anyway, outside of that. So you're going to have to decide if you want to be holding it like this or you want to be holding it like that. And that is honestly probably going to be your biggest decision between the two. Now, this is 1300 lumens max. This is 1000 lumens on its high setting. I'm going to go ahead and focus on the LED here so that you can see this. Level 4 is 1000 lumens, but here's the difference. I still have the turbo button, which can take me all the way up to 3000 lumens. But it's limited to how long you can do that. And it's going to run down the countdown timer for the turbo, and then it's automatically going to kick down. But then what it does is it kicks down to 1000 lumens. So you're still rocking a lot of lumens. When the turbo on this runs out, you're running from 1300 lumens. I believe the kick down was to 600, if I'm not mistaken. It was on the image that I put up on the screen there. So if I'm wrong, I will correct myself right here anyway. But it's a substantial kick down. And still 600 lumens, if that's what it is, 650. It's still a lot of light. This kicks down a lot faster. You only get, what was it, 10 or 15 seconds maybe of the turbo. This, you get a longer time with the turbo, and that's kind of nice. Now, if you want to play with your cats, or you want to make a presentation in the office, you've got your laser pointer here, and then you've got the UV light. And, you know, there's really only one thing that I could think of to use the UV light for. We've already covered that. I don't know when in my practical life I'm ever going to need a UV light, but I'm really glad that I've got it. Should the need arise, there it is. Now, along with many of you, I'm a watch guy, and a lot of you already know that. And while this one, there's no relevance to me showing that, but most of my watches that I've got, Super Luminova on, I can use the UV, charge up the lume on the watch dial and hands, and it's a lot more powerful than using the white light. More powerful, faster, and the luminescence holds the UV powered light a little bit longer. So that's a really good use. So if you're a watch guy and you like having your lume charged all the time on your wristwatch, then get yourself one of these and you'll be using that UV setting a whole hell of a lot. I can promise you that. And if I'm going to talk about that, I really should demo that, shouldn't I? Yep, that's the smart thing to do. All right, I've got it set over here to UV. And I just give it a couple seconds to charge up. And then boom, look how bright that is. That is insanity. Just a couple of seconds is all it takes. UV light is fantastic for watch lume. All right, so we've done all that. Now, more comparisons here with the EDC27. They're relatively the same size. EDC27's only a little bit larger. If you do not like having E-switches as tail switches, and there's a good reason for it, because if you move the wrong way, your leg bends and you're wearing jeans and this gets pushed up to your belt or something else, and you have held it long enough to bypass the locks, which I just locked it right now. You give it a click, and then you hold it down, and then it unlocks. Trust me when I say that that will fire in your pocket, and it gets very, very hot. This isn't going to do that from that end. Now, normally I will not buy a light that has a side switch at all, period, because that's how I've actually gotten hot pocket in the past. But this one has a little bit of a recess. If you look here, I'm going to give you a nice close-up here. I wish it were recessed more, but it is recessed just a little bit so that the selector switch sits up higher and you're not too likely to actually activate that. But the good news is you have the same type of lockout right here on this switch. So, just like you would have on this, you have a lockout on this, making it as safe as it can be with an E-switch. I would still prefer to have some sort of mechanical safety on there. And that's pretty much it for the direct comparisons. Yes, this will be more powerful, but for a limited amount of time. They are almost equal in their high modes. No, this is still stronger in the high mode, but the turbo on this is going to last longer. So you've got a pretty even playing field here. And if you're the kind that actually is going to get use out of the laser and out of the UV light, then it's a no-brainer. This is going to be a great way to go. And they are very, 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 very similar in weight. It's almost impossible to tell between them as far as the weight goes. So that's not really a huge consideration either. I kind of prefer the pocket clip that's on the Nitecore. Not a huge fan of Olight's clip. Also, it's a deep carry clip, which I feel the same way about deep carry clips on lights as I do on knives. I absolutely hate deep carry clips as a personal thing. That doesn't mean they're garbage. It's a personal opinion. I do not like deep carry things because if I'm carrying something clipped in my pocket, it's because I don't want it down in my pocket. So when I'm carrying a knife, I choose to carry knives that have pocket clips, not old, classic pocket knives that don't have clips that would just rest in the bottom of your pocket. That's for a reason, because I want quick access to it. I want to be able to grab it, yank it out, and that's it. I don't want to have to fish around and then grab this little teeny tiny bit of body that's here and pull it up into my hand. I don't want that. With this light, I very quickly grab it. It's so simple because I have this much of the light sticking out of my pocket. It's very easy to access. And Olight really likes their deep carry clips. I don't know why, but they do. Somebody out there must appreciate it, and that's fine. Everybody has different tastes and preferences. The one thing I do like about their clip is the way that it doubles back, because on most of their lights, you could just clip that right onto the bill of your hat, and you have a headlight. I wouldn't do it with this because it weighs quite a bit as compared to like their S1 Baton Mini. That's what it was called. It was the S1 Baton. Sorry, it just popped back in my head. Something like that weighed almost nothing, and that was very easy to clip on there and kind of wear as a headlight. This might be just a tad too heavy for that, but if you could do it, you certainly have the ability to choose that. All right, now let's get outside and see how these lights perform. Okay, starting things off, we're going to start with a little bit of low light, graduate up again. And let's see what that looks like at a distance. Again, I want to make sure we're on high. Now if I do a double tap, I forgot it's a triple tap for turbo, not double tap. And when you're using turbo, you've actually got a decent amount of throw. I still look at it being more of a floody light that could be used for kind of surveying the area, more so than really punching out very far. As an example, we'll bring the Nitecore out. That is a significant difference. There is turbo mode on the Olight, turbo mode on the Nitecore. So obviously it's very good at seeing the shorter distances very, very bright. We go all the way out here. You can see a few of my neighbors' houses over there. Not so well with the Olight. Now, I still think it's a good, impressive amount of throw for somewhat normal activities. You're just not going to be doing any super crazy long distance stuff with it. Using the 1000 lumen setting on the Nitecore, switch that off, and use the turbo setting on the Olight, which is supposed to be the same amount of lumens. You can see the candela difference. Obviously, this is very unscientific. We're not metering it. But there again is your 1000 lumens from the Nitecore. So the way I look at it is this. For a good everyday EDC light, I think that this is fantastic. There, by the way, is your laser. And the UV light really isn't going to do very much here. So as far as everyday EDC stuff goes, I would say that this is definitely an excellent choice. If you have specific needs where you think that you're going to need a lot more throw, you're going to need a lot more of that candela, you're going to need a lot more of that power, then you're probably going to pick up something more like the Nitecore. And if you want to do a little laser light show, well, you're only going to be able to do that with the Olight, man. You can't do that with the Nitecore. So just keep that in mind. I don't know how crazy this looks with the frame rate of the camera. If I can light up my other neighbor's fence over there. Oh, yeah. Tell you one thing, man, that laser, it goes. It's definitely not going to be able to pick up what I'm doing here in the sky, but that tree there is a good 150 feet away. Okay, that's enough of the laser silliness. Back to the flashlight, the more practical thing that we're all going to be using. There we go. So yeah, that's the way I view it. The Olight is going to be a really great all-around EDC light that's going to probably perform for 95% of all of your needs. And when you need something that's super ridiculous, maybe you know you're going out into the swamp, your dog ran out of the backyard, made it out into the swamp, you're going to want something that gives you a lot of flood and a lot of throw all in one. That's where this one, I think, is going to be just a little bit handier. But that really is a specific scenario that you're looking at.